Christmas Eve is usually quiet. It's one of the few nights in the year where the world slows down, where we pause, reflect, and take stock of where we are and how we got there. And that pause matters, because most days, especially right now, we're being asked to have an opinion about everything. Wars, elections, technology, borders, corporations, culture. All of it framed as urgent. All of it framed as existential. Tonight isn't about reacting. Tonight is about understanding. I wanted to sit down and explain what I mean when I say everything is national security, and let you know why I started Midweek Sitrep, what we explored this year, and what we're going to next. This is a look inside, not just the show, but the thinking that goes behind it. So grab your favorite warm drink, sit by the tree, and let's get down to it. Hey everybody, welcome to Midweek Sitrep, your bi-weekly briefing on what's happening in the world of national security. My name is Jerry Fowler, and I'm your host. Every other week, I give you the context you need to see what's really going on so you can stay mission focused. By now, the shopping should be finished and the travel mostly done. This is the quiet stretch of the holidays, the part meant for reflection, not rushing. Before we start thinking about next year, I wanted to take a moment to talk about where we've been, why the show exists, and where we're going next. When people hear the phrase, everything is national security, it sounds pretty dramatic, or even alarming. So let me be clear about what it does not mean. It does not mean everything is militarized. It does not mean people should live in fear. And it doesn't mean every issue requires a national security response. Now, what it means is the systems that keep societies stable or destabilize them now extend far beyond traditional ideas of defense. National security today includes supply chains, data, technology, energy, food, infrastructure, information. It includes who owns critical assets, who controls key systems, and who has leverage when something breaks. These systems shape daily life whether we notice them or not. When a semiconductor shortage ripples through the economy, when a cyber incident shuts down hospitals, when a platform alters how information spreads, and when investment decisions quietly shift geopolitical power. That's national security. Not as a buzzword, but as a way of understanding how the modern world actually works. Now, I don't come at this from one lane. I've worked in state government, federal government, I've served in the military, and have spent years advising companies on national security risk. What that's given me is perspective. I've seen how policy is written, interpreted, enforced, and experienced on the receiving end. Growing up, I learned early that words matter. That how something is framed often determines how it's understood and how it's acted on. And that lesson has followed me. Because I've watched the same issues look completely different depending on where you sit. In government, it's about authority and responsibility. In the military, it's about risk and consequence. In the private sector, it's about exposure and survival. The same problem, different lenses. Midweek Sitrep lives in the space between those lenses, where decisions are made and consequences become real. Now, certain types of training and experience can change how you listen. They can force you to slow down, to be precise, to care about what words actually mean. Because words aren't just expressions, they're commitments. A single word can expand authority or limit it, create responsibility or remove it, trigger consequences, or avoid them entirely. That discipline matters now more than ever. We live in a world where language moves faster than understanding, where headlines outrun facts, where certainty is rewarded even when it's wrong. But national security doesn't work that way. It doesn't run on slogans or vibes. It runs on definitions, thresholds, authorities, consequences. And one of the reasons Midweek Sitrep exists is to make the murky clear, or at least clearer. To slow things down, define the terms people hear in the news or encounter in their work, and give them a common starting point for understanding what's actually happening. Not so they can repeat talking points, but so they can think clearer when these issues intersect with their lives. I started Midweek Sitrep because I saw a gap. People are constantly being pushed to form opinions on national security type issues, but most coverage comes filtered through politics, emotion, or oversimplification. That leads to reaction instead of understanding. This show isn't about telling you what to think. It's about giving you the tools to think clearer, to understand the basics, to recognize trade-offs, to see how power actually moves, quietly, structurally, and often invisibly. You don't need to be a lawyer. You don't need to work in government. You just need context. That's the role this show tries to play. Now, if there was a theme this year, it was that national security is no longer defined by single events. It's shaped by systems under pressure. We talked about corporations acting as geopolitical players, data becoming a strategic resource, algorithms shaping behavior and perception, supply chains treated as strategic terrain, land, food, and infrastructure losing their neutrality. We looked at sanctions, export controls, CFIUS, foreign investment, cybersecurity, surveillance, all not as abstractions, but as tools with real downstream effects. And what emerged was a picture of national security that isn't confined to borders. It's embedded in systems, contracts, platforms, logistics, law. This year wasn't about panic. It was about awareness. So I'm going to wrap up 2025 with a thank you to everyone who's listened, shared an episode, decided that thinking a little deeper was worth their time this year, or went to everythingisnationalsecurity.com and picked up a shirt or a hat. This show exists because there's people out there who would rather understand what's happening than to argue about it. People who believe that clarity beats outrage, and that volume isn't the same thing as insight. Now we're going to be taking a short holiday break, but Midweek Sitrep will return February 25th, 2026. We're going to dig into the power of narrative, the illusion of control, and the national security systems quietly influencing your everyday decisions. Until then, step away from the noise, spend time with the people who matter, and give yourself a little room to think. Thanks for being here. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and have a Happy New Year. And remember, everything is national security. That's it for today's Midweek Sitrep. If this episode got you thinking, don't let the conversation stop here. Head over to the Insider Brief on Substack and subscribe. It's where we dig deeper, answer your questions, and preview what's next. We're also on YouTube, where you'll find short clips, interviews, and bonus content. Make sure to subscribe there if you haven't already. And if you want to support the show, go to everythingisnationalsecurity.com and check out our merch. Every shirt and hat helps keep Midweek Sitrep independent and growing. Subscribe, share, and stay sharp. I'm Jerry Fowler, and remember, everything is national security. See you next time. Midweek Sitrep with Jerry Fowler is an independent production of OpScent Media Group, LLC. The information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, financial, or professional advice. Listeners should consult with a qualified professional before making any decisions based upon the content discussed. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host, Jerry Fowler, and any guest, and do not reflect the official policy, position, or endorsement of any current or former employer, client, government agency, military organization, educational institution, or any other entity for which the host, Jerry Fowler, may be affiliated. Mention of a company, product, or service does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation. Any references are provided for informational purposes only. This podcast does not disclose any classified, proprietary, or confidential information. All discussions are based upon publicly available information and personal expertise.
Everything's national security. OpSent Media Group, LLC.